Breeders' Cup 2025 recap. The Breeders' Cup is in the books. We covered taking a look at that, and I'm joined by two analysts, two guests that have joined me for the Breeders' Cup show last week, and it'll be very interesting. Both of them delivered some really big winners. John on Friday kicks it off with the $525 try for 50 cents, plus a 60-something dollar exacta, plus delivered nearly a $60 horse, gave it out right here on the show. Robert destroyed one, gave us the winner cold for the final race on Saturday, the Breeders' Cup, a horse that paid over $20. We had other hits in there as well. I hope if you tuned in, you watched it, you were in on it. So hopefully some of you's had that, and I'll introduce my guest analyst again. To my right is actor Robert Funaro. A lot of you know him as Eugene Pontecorvo from The Sopranos, seasons 3 through 6. And right now he is a brand new author of the book Homemade by Robert Funaro, 8 Sopranos stories and 8 homemade recipes, family recipes. You can get that at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, anywhere that really sells books, but Amazon is probably the quickest way. A lot of you use Amazon, but Robert is also a tremendous handicapper. Like I said, he's joined me before, giving out some big hits, and the Breeders' Cup was no exception. And to Robert's right is Parks official John DaSilva. And a lot of you know John DaSilva, wrote for New York's biggest newspaper, New York Post, 19 years, the lead racing analyst, gave out his selections every day. Same deal, gave out his top 3 picks. Said why he liked those horses, but he also wrote articles on horse racing. 19 years until the paper closed its racing department, let the whole department go. A few days before the Belmont Stakes, and the post-racing, whatever the coverage has never been the same since. And John also went on to be the morning line maker at Parks, and now he's an official over at Parks. He's very involved putting together, getting horses entries in these stakes races. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us today. What do you think of this Breeders' Cup?
Bonjour.
Well, it was a great Breeders' Cup. It was a little disappointing with the attendance, but we got some great racing, and I don't think people could complain about the quality of the races we had.
I thought it was exciting, regardless if Sovereignty left or it was scratched from the race. No excuses. John chose Forever Young. He went with his horse, and he came up strong. And Forever Young showed his class, and more power to him. That's racing. I asked John a few questions about Mike Rapoli and the dual entry of Mindframe. Did it impede his chances? And I also asked him about the Rabbit. He can speak about that if he'd like to, but I was curious about that. And John, maybe you could talk about that a little bit.
Well, there's so much drama coming into the race, starting with Sovereignty scratching. So that changes everything, and people wondering, where do we go? How do we handle this? When you have a Rabbit, see, one thing about the Rabbit which people need to understand, a Rabbit isn't there just to be speed. A Rabbit is also there to be a pain in the butt. Because he's going to do whatever he can to make others lose. So he's going to be a pain in their butt.
John, can I just interrupt you a second? What I didn't ask you was that with the Rabbit, it seemed like the Forever Young and the Rabbit were teamed together, locking in fierceness in a way. Did you? I felt like it was like a team effort to kind of keep him. Would you expound on that also? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Well, contrary thinking, I would say he's there to be a pain in the butt.
Which he was.
He's going to go out there, go 40, 22, 44, or whatever. No. Rabbits are there to make others lose. You look at the history of rabbits, some of them will use their speed to do it. Some people brought up Commentator when Dutcho put in 2 claims written by Raul Rojas and Rudy Rodriguez. And basically they tag teamed Commentator, and they made him lose not by running him into the ground with the speed, but basically doing wrestling moves and bumping him and making it tight on him and all that, and being a pain in the butt and frustrating him. I mean, that's what rabbits are there to do. They're there to be a pain in the butt, so they can get the job done. Contrary thinking, he was there to try to be a pain in the butt to the speeds of the race, set up for Sierra Leone. You look at the way the race is setting up. I mean, Forever Young got a great trip, saving ground and everything else. And the thing is, Sakai, the jockey, he's left some races out there they should have won, okay, because he's made mistakes in the past. But he's not used to American style of racing with those American jockeys, how aggressive they can be. It's not all nice, peace, and everything like you do in Japan, okay? We talk about you're going from a nice calm sea to a tsunami, you know. So he had to learn, and he made mistakes. He should have won some other races. I mean, look at it this way: he had 12 starts, 9 wins, 3 thirds. Those 3 thirds could have easily been victories. You know, this horse could have been on a Zenyatta-like streak if he had gotten some better rides. So, like I said, Sakai.
Well, he showed it in the Saudi Cup. He certainly showed his métier in the Saudi Cup.
Yeah, but the one thing about foreign riding, they love to ride horses, take cover, and they'll be patient. And when the time is to go, they will go. And that's what Sakai did. And give him all the credit in the world because he rode a great race to gain the victory there. And contrary thinking, he tried to do what he can, set up for Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone came with the closing rush on the outside. Too late.
Not enough.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's a short stretch.
Yes.
Well,
that's what the commentators were saying, John. They said if Fierceness can get that lead, he can get that short stretch. But it wasn't going to happen that day. At Forever Young, you're right. He was aggressive. He was really going to make sure he was in control. No.
Yeah, and that's what they needed to do. They got the job done. I mean, it's a shame because Fierceness is a great horse. Mindframe's a great horse. Sierra Leone's a great horse. But only one horse can win. Yep. And finally, the Japanese got the victory they wanted.
Hats off to the rider having Forever Young showing a new dimension now, showing more speed earlier than he used to in the past. And the trainer, they already said they're pointing him to that Defenders Saudi Cup title next year. So they're not thinking of hanging him up, and that's a good thing.
Hey, he's made a lot of money so far. And he could easily destroy the all-time earnings record with a victory in the Saudi Cup, which is a $20 purse. Put it this way. Remember Saudi Crown? Pennsylvania Derby in 2023. He ran in the Saudi Cup. He finished third. He still got $2 million for finishing third. So you will get paid.
Yeah. Joseph O'Brien made a few dollars yesterday in the Melbourne Cup. McManus is Irish. The filly again. The lightweight filly came in second. But I must say, if we move on, Alan's going to expound on. Let me be quiet. Alan, expound on your classic feelings.
Well, in the classic, I thought the rabbit definitely hurt Fierceness's chances when he started to slow up. He had to slightly steady for a second, and then with Mindframe, I thought he was in his way, and he had to kind of slow up when he was cutting over because he initially started to go towards the rail, and Forever Young sealed him off there, and then he had to slow down briefly and then start coming, and then Mindframe popped in there, and I guess that's the aggressive nature of Irad Ortiz. I figures, Rapoli probably said, if you think you have the shot, go for it to both of these guys, and he snuck next to him, but then all of a sudden he ran out of gas and fell out of it. And Fierceness, I think, could have won that race If not for those two factors, he's still a great horse. He never was able to really get it in gear again. And that cost him actually second and third, I believe. I was as far as mind frame, I see him as a cut below those other horses. One thing I want to ask you about, John, I don't recall hearing Baez's name at all in this race. What happened?
And the way that track was playing, which is speed favoring, once he broke bad and trailed the field, he had no shot at that point.
Mm.
Okay, yeah. I thought Journalism made a nice showing. Turning for home, he looked like he was ready to make a move, but he flattened out a little bit, got fourth. And I think we're going to – they're actually pondering retiring him now after this year. But they said we're going to know midweek, this week.
Well, actually, there was an announcement that when they put out the new updated stallion prices, Journalism was not on the list. Even though they haven't made it official, taking him off the list could be a sign that he's going to come back next year.
I sure hope so, yeah. And Sovereignty, I guess he'll be back next year too. There's unfinished business there.
About that.
Do you think Go ahead.
Well, remember, he got sick traveling, flying across the country. He's been sick in the past. He was sick when he went down to Florida. And you have to wonder, with Bill Mott skipping the Preakness, did he realize that maybe he was going to get sick going from Kentucky to Maryland? So instead of risking it, let's just skip it totally and go take him straight to Saratoga? Who knows?
You think Sovereignty might show up in the Pegasus, John?
No.
How about the Saudi Cup?
That's Dubai, I think, is the race they want.
Okay.
Dubai. That's
Why not the Saudi Cup?
That's February. The Dubai meet.
If
February,
they want, and the thing is, to me, if you're going to go and travel overseas for the horse that gets sick when traveling, you have to sit him out early and put in that time to recover from the fever. So
could be a possibility of Pegasus, given what you're saying now.
Could be, but I would think in a situation like this, therefore,
I mean, he has run in Florida before.
He has Florida, but they want Dubai. They will do whatever it takes to run in Dubai because you got Dubai owners and everything else. And
right,
like I said, if you have to sit him out there earlier than what most horses would do, just so he adjusts and acclimate to the conditions and everything else, you don't take a chance by running something like the Pegasus. Because if your goal is going to be Dubai, you just worry about that.
Now, Horse of the Year and Forever Young, are they allowed to vote for the Japanese horse for Horse of the Year? I mean, he won the Breeders'
Cup. But he's not going to win it. It's Sovereignty all the way.
Yeah, right. But if you look at his accomplishments, all the money he won in the Saudi Cup and now wins the Breeders' Cup Classic, wouldn't he kind of deserve it? Or would they say, oh, they're the ones overseas and they just – could they technically vote for him?
Belmont Stakes, the Travers. I got the Godolphin Blue on, man.
So do you think he's going to come in like third or fourth for Horse of the Year or somewhere like that in the voting, Eclipse voting?
Well, here's the thing.
He warrants at least a vote, right?
Well, here's the thing. If you're looking at the older horses, if this was a worldwide vote, he would be the winner.
Mm-hmm.
Because 2 of the 3 races he won this year, he was spectacular. Okay. The thing is, he only won once in North America.
Yeah.
And some people hold that against him because there's no set rules on how you vote. So they may say, well, let's reward Sierra Leone for what he did. Let's reward Fierceness for what he did. I mean, they're all going to have different interpretations in how they do it. Will Forever Young get votes? Of course he will, because some people do like to go that way. But in terms of what you've done all year, even though they haven't run that much, because everybody seems to be running less and less, he will be a top 3 finalist. I'm not sure if he'll get enough support from the voters to get the older horse Eclipse and horse of the year. I mean, horse of the year, it's going to be wrong. Because even though when you vote for your top 3, when they come up with the horses, they don't count the first place votes. The top 3 are just for tiebreakers and things like that. And I'll be very surprised if more than a handful of people would pick Forever Young as horse of the year over Sovereignty.
I don't think anyone would, right?
Might have a couple.
But he might have a second. How about Fierceness? Is he going to win top 4-year-old?
That's the problem right now. Because
Mind frame, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, how many times has Fierceness been beat?
No, he's won 3 big races, though. I know that.
Beaten them in the races he's lost.
Yeah, he hasn't looked good in the races. Except this one, he looked okay. But
yeah, but did Sierra Leone beat him?
Yeah, Sierra Leone may come out on top of that. I think.
I don't know. Sierra Leone he really burned some money this year. Those 3rd place finishes. He didn't win the Classic.
Right.
Where did Sierra Leone beat Fierceness this year?
I would have to check.
Fierceness won the Pacific Coast Classic. He won some other race earlier in the year, I think. And then he won another race.
He won the.
Yeah,
Sierra Leone won the Pegasus, John. I think he won the Pegasus this year.
No, there.
Huh?
But he was in the Whitney. Didn't he win the Whitney?
No, he didn't.
Who won the Whitney? Don't have the PPs in front of me right now.
I was at the race. Jeez, I'm drawing a blank. I know I bet on. Who the heck was it? Let me bring it up while you guys talk. But yeah, I was just curious about the top 4-year-old.
The old horses, like if you remember years ago, when you had the 3 older horses all battling each other, old horse of the year.
Right.
But because they took away votes from each other, that gave Favorite Trick the opportunity to win horse of the year. Because the vote was that close. And I think the same thing's going to happen this year. Even though it wouldn't affect horse of the year, because Sovereignty is going to be the easy winner. It's going to be a close vote because some people will vote for Forever Young. Some people vote for Sierra Leone. Some people vote for Fierceness. And I think Forever Young's going to be 3rd. And it's going to be between those top 2. And the question is, who do you believe had the better year? Because we all want to look at wins. Because you have to see who else was in these races.
And you were right, John. It was Sierra Leone did beat Fierceness in the Whitney, and now he finished ahead of him in the Breeders' Cup Classic. So top 4-year-old probably goes to Sierra Leone.
And it was your horse that won the last Pegasus, White Barrier, who was scratched, Alan.
Yeah, and what about White Barrier, John? The owners, the trainers, they were in shock. It was, who was it, the vet or something at the race said that he was scratching him, and they said he galloped off, he's fine, and they're pointing him to defend his title in the Pegasus next year. He's coming back.
It's always the vet. I mean, I know there's statements put out, and they're saying the stewards made the decision. Yes, the stewards made the decision, but what always happens is the vet will contact the stewards, and they'll say, stewards, this is Dr. So-and-so. I recommend the scratching of White Barrio because I've observed something, or he's not moving right, or whatever reason they use. And then the stewards will ask, are we sure this is what you're looking at? This is what you want to do? And the vet will say, yes, it's okay. We will scratch the horse then. So even though they're putting the blame on the stewards, it really is the vet who made the call to scratch. I mean, the stewards aren't going to call the vet and say, we're scratching this horse. We don't like what we're seeing. They're always the vet always makes the first move.
Yeah.
And they did get counsel. the owners, and they plan to appeal and probably go to court to try to get some damages for scratching the horse.
Because that's very interesting, John, that they did that.
Well, they're not happy, I mean, look, Waterbury does have a history of foot problems.
Mm-hmm.
From the first time Safi had them to when Dutro took over, put on the glue-on shoes to take the pressure, gave him more time between races and all that. So it's not like he's been totally healthy, because he hasn't, because he's had the foot issues in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did he maybe not look perfect in the post? I mean, I didn't see the post parade that closely where I could say that yes, he's sore, or yes, he has a foot issue problem. Then is making. I don't know. I mean, some people I've talked to, they said they've seen nothing. A couple of others have said they didn't like what they saw of him. So it's hard to say what's going to. But they're going to go to court. Will they get anything? I doubt it, because when the vet is paid to make decisions like this, they're going to take it seriously. They're not going to go and just scratch for the hell of it. You make a scratch because you see I mean, Alan, you saw what I sent you on Thursday night after the show, and you saw both scratches that
Both
happened.
horses scratched, yeah.
So it does happen. I didn't say it on the show because at that time they weren't scratched, so I wasn't going to start a firestorm by saying who they were at that point. But I sent it to you afterwards because
Mr. Dan, yeah, and Black,
yeah, from talking to people out there, they didn't like what they saw. And first scratch, you heard McPeak going, "Oh, this horse has never been sore. He's never had an issue. They shouldn't have scratched the horse." Again, I had people out there who I trust, who I know, who didn't like what they saw. Now, could they have been wrong? Oh, yeah, of course they could have been wrong. You could have caught them in a bad moment. That's why when you make these decisions, it's very difficult. I mean, do they have to maybe tighten things up a little bit? And do they have to maybe get videos and maybe look at videos just to make sure that this isn't something that they've always done and they're over? I mean, there's a lot that can be done to make things better, to protect everyone. But in the end, you want to do what's best for the horse. I mean, look at the horse who won the Steep Breeders' Cup Turf, the one we talked about, the steeplechase horse. He was
and
supposed
that
to
was
go.
a big hit by you, John. $57 horse.
Let's talk about Ethical Diamond, baby. John.
Yeah, Ethical Diamond, number 4.
Johnny's big pick, John, big pick.
And that was race 8 on Saturday.
Yeah, right. He wasn't even supposed to be in the Breeders' Cup Turf. But because they are very careful with how they do things, shipping horses, they have extra vet checks, and they do it nice and early. And once he discovered he had surgery, he had some metal in his leg, that automatically prevented him from entering the Melbourne Cup. And since he's a gelding,
that I didn't
he
know.
couldn't run in the Arc de Triomphe. So Willie Mullins decided, well, let's go to the Breeders' Cup Turf then.
Well, no, wait a second. Now I heard that his assistant trainer, Casey, whatever his name, he had told Willie that he recommended that he run him in the Breeders' Cup. That's what it was.
But he couldn't run Melbourne because they couldn't pass the vet check, and don't allow geldings to run to the Arc, so he couldn't run.
They enter Absurd in the in Melbourne, who doesn't do anything, but she was a good horse. It's a great pick, John.
Yeah, and
Man,
like I
you
said,
gave it out right here on the show, so hope some of you at least had it.
Yeah, I mean, once John mentioned it, all he had to do was mention it, and I think I expounded on Willie Mullins and what a great trainer he was, and he had sold me. That was it. I went to watch his races. I saw Buick ran him, and then Ryan Moore ran him. He got hurt, and then they put Buick on him. So it must have been a good horse. And boy, every race that she ran, she was like like on fire in the stretch. So there you go, John. Yeah. Good pick.
And thank you. And it's not like these steeplechase trainers don't know what they're doing. I'm looking at a guy like Shepard, who could win on both, over the fences on the flat.
Mhm.
And you knew this horse was in shape. This horse was carrying 160 pounds and more going 2 miles.
Yes, I saw
Horse
point that down.
126 on Saturday. So,
Yes,
That's like you said. It's almost like a sprint for her.
yeah, and the horse just had to get in position. And Mullins was saying, maybe I'll finish top 6.
yes,
Hey, the man is a champion trainer for a reason. He knows
yes.
to get them ready. And yes, it's something I wish I'd see more often, steeplechase horses running on the flat. But here in America, usually horses who are not in the same form used to, that's when they switch over to steeplechase. Out in Europe, they're going steeplechase first for the most part.
They're on the long races.
This has been weird because he started on the flat, went to fences, then back on the flat. And
Right.
now,
Those last 2 races, big races on the flat, and they were money races. But the one thing, John, that was interesting that even made me think more about the horse, although I didn't bet the farm on him, but enough to pull out basically from Friday, was that Willie Mullins said that they asked him, have you done anything special with the training? And he said, no, nothing much, but we did invest in a ringer, the Delmar ringer, and we shipped it in, and we put it on a training track because our horses before had a tendency to be spooked, and that was the only thing different. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool, man. That's why he's a great trainer.
He's 70 years old and he still knows what he's doing. He's sharp as a tack. And went and got the champion Irish jockey McGonigal to ride the horse, who did an outstanding job.
Whom you pointed out also in the show.
Yeah, he's never ridden in America before.
Yeah.
He's ridden all over the world, but this is his first time in America. And the way he rode him great. And
I think that Semillian was a bit surprised when he looked to the right and he saw that Ethical Diamond rolling by. You see him for a second there, like, what the hell's going on Mini Hawk,
It was going to be a 2-horse race.
Yeah.
It turned out to be more than that. And let's not forget one other fact. What post did he break out of?
14.
How many 14s won those 2 days?
Yeah, that was the kiss of death, the outside, John. You're right. Wow.
Yeah.
That makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, but I think that John's right. In that kind of race, even at Flemington yesterday in the 2-mile races, the outside post really has no bearing in a. I will say this, John. In the sprints, it did seem that it did have bearing. You know what I mean? Although Gestard did win from the outside post, Gestard won from
So that's just one of John's Bonanza $57 selection he gave out on our Breeders' Cup show last Thursday night. But another thing, John's got the Breeders' Cup off to us with a bang with the first championship race coming in the 6th race on Friday. It was the turf race for a 2-year-old, a 5-furlong race. And he gave us the trifecta, basically. You boxes 3 horses. He had there's only 3 selections with a 1-4, a 10-1, and the 4. Those are the 10-1. Iron Ortiz, $12 winner, and Brussels, who we all liked, $9.60. And he had the 4 is his other choice. So he had all 3. If you box these horses that he gave out for the first race on Friday, your Breeders' Cup got off to an absolute bang with a $525 trifecta for 50 cents. That's $3. And also, if you played an exacta box just with his 3 horses, boom, you not only get the triple, but for $1, you get back $63, 62 to 1. There. And I guess my question, and I was sharp on that race too. My only problem, I gave 4 selections. My selections were in order 9, 10, 1, 4. Aspect Island was a Tory. But John, great job on that. So you would have had to spend a little more to box my 4, but my 4 horses for 50 cents would have been 12 to get back that thing. And if you box my top 3, you would have got the exactor as well. But I want John, why did you left out the big favorite, 9? What was the name of that horse? And I know you like the horse too, Bobby. You left him out completely. What was the name of that 9, the favorite?
True Love.
True Love. You left him out of your picks, and you were dead on and nailed the trifecta just with your 3 select. Why do you leave True Love out of there?
Well, one of the reasons why I had liked Brussels is because he had experience doing a turn. Because most of the European races, you're going straight. But a guy like Aiden, master trainer, he saw that this horse could handle the turn, which is why he put him in there. And Join the Rail, I think, was going to help him a little bit. And things like True Love was a great horse. But you can't pick every Aiden O'Brien horse, unfortunately. And sometimes you have to handicap the trainer, what he's looking at, what he's doing. And when I saw what he did with Brussels, I think, okay, he wants this horse to be one of his top choices into the Breeders' Cup, which is why he ran him the way he did, and with especially putting him in a race where he had experienced a turn, which most others didn't do, or they do right-handed turns and all that. I mean, you have to do handicap. Aiden is a master. He does anything and everything, but you can't pick them all. And especially when they have a horse like Sci-Fair, who's very talented, for George Weaver, who's been unbelievable with turf sprinters, especially with the 2-year-olds. I mean, the man has won a lot of them. So having those two put together, I had to do it. And then you got Frankie. Now, a guy like Frankie in a race like that, experience like that, you had to give him the benefit of the doubt, especially if he's a little bit more going for him. He's going to be a price. I mean, you can't pick everybody. You have to make the tough decision, leave somebody out. And in this case, I made the right choice.
Tremendous.
Just to expound on True Love. True Love ran one. I have the PPs 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 straight races and one left-handed race. One left-handed, that he ran left-handed in his career. So John, it's very, very correct what he's saying. That I think that I take that into consideration also, running, having that experience. So it's a great pick, John. I mean, I think people really could have earned Allen if they, played a little bit. And you got to bet with your head. Another $2, $12 trifecta brings you back a few dollars.
And imagine if you're in a handicapping contest.
Yeah.
Go into the first race, and all of a sudden you hit an exacta like that, for $126 for $2, and obviously not paying it for $2, you had to bet a minimum $750 into the race. So some people would have been paying like maybe a $20, $40. That would have put them on top right away.
50-cent trifecta paid $5.25, $50.
Mm-hmm.
50 cents, John. Did you have that trifecta, John?
I didn't play the trifecta.
Yeah, I want you to pay the taxes, John. We don't want you to pay the taxes.
Yeah.
Well, if you box it,
Right,
you wouldn't have to.
Terrific,
They take your total bet, so you wouldn't have to pay taxes. It wasn't 600 to 1.
Correct.
And another one, John, out of the big Friday races, Ted Nafi now, do you think he is the one to beat, or he's 10 to 1 in the futures? The Baffert horse is 14 to 1. What's the horse's name? Brandt, I think. Anyway, right. Ted Nafi, do you think he's the real deal, or is it we haven't really seen the best 2-year-old yet?
Talking about my selection, Alan, just say that I had him to win, man. Before
yes, and Robert gave him out. I think he was the only one that gave him out to win,
and that was my only winner of the day too. So,
that's a big one, really. And you've been on this horse for a long time, Robert, and you definitely weigh in next because you've been all over weeks ago. What do you think, John? What do you think of Nafi? And then
he's definitely a 3-year-old champion. He's definitely the deserving Kentucky Derby favorite. He's run some very good races so far, and he's one we're definitely going to be watching out for. He's going to go to Florida, prep down there in Florida for the Kentucky Derby, and it'll be very interesting to see how aggressive Todd's going to be. Does he give him 2 races? Does he give him 1 race? I mean, you can go a lot of different directions, because this horse is talented. good look. He's got the ability. He doesn't have to be on leave. He's got good tactical speed. Um, I'll be very curious to see how they handle it. Do they keep him going 2 turns, which means waiting until the Fountain of Youth, or did they run him in the Holy Bull, then the Florida Derby, or do they even ship up to Kentucky to run in the Bluegrass? They have options. And Todd's got so many 2-year-olds who are going to be 3-year-olds next year. He'll be able to split them up and go in different directions. He's the real deal. And if you want to bet futures on, if you can get 10-1, take advantage of it right now.
Yeah, that was the time.
Yeah.
That's pretty
I
close.
think I look for a horse to have intelligence, and that's what I saw from Saratoga. That the horse had this sense of racing. He took to it really nicely, and its smarts in terms of rating and stuff. So, and I think he's really a big horse. I don't know how many hands he is, but man, he looks tremendous. I mean, and you need that kind of girth, I think, to win at Churchill. I think Sovereignty's an Into Mischief, if I'm correct, John.
Yeah.
Into Mischief out of Harlan's Holiday. Good breeding. I mean, it's got a lot of heart, and I think he is a good. I didn't bet the future on him because I tell you, my thing with the futures is that the horses have to last to February, January, and I've been burned before early on, and a lot can happen between now and then. Although it is a gamble, don't go crazy. I think he's a great future bet, but I have a tendency to hold back a little bit on these.
Which I can understand, because I remember one year I hit the future because I wheeled the field in an exacta.
Mm.
And of the other 23 horses in the race, only 2 made the Derby.
Oh, God.
And then one
Wow.
scratched. So there's one left. So as soon as he opened up the gates, I was a winner. Nice feeling when that can happen.
Oh, sure.
Often.
No, it's true.
And also, you got to feel bad for the namesake, because his name is Ned Toffee. But they switched it around to Ted Noffee, and now everybody's calling him Ted when his name is Ned.
Remember that horse they named Jarek Dieter? Yeah,
Mhm.
That's kind of the same thing. That's funny. What do you think of? We talked about the Classic a bit. What do you think about the distaff? Seismic Beauty gets the horrible start, and
What was that, Alan? What race was that?
that
Friday?
was race.
Saturday?
I think that was race 7 on Saturday. Let me just double check.
Mm-hmm.
For the members of my channel, I gave out the 4 as a live long shot in there, but I didn't. No, that's not 7. That's not 7 on
No, this stuff was race 7 on Saturday.
Saturday. Okay, there it is. Okay, 7 Skelia. I thought the Mott horse showed unexpected early speed, but how much of it was real? Because the main speed. Seismic Beauty had a horrible start and was out of the picture. She was dead. And you talked about this, John. Whenever she didn't make the lead, the 3 times she didn't make the lead at the first call, she lost all 3, and this really put her behind the 8 ball and left it wide open. I was surprised about this, and I thought 12 would be more involved. What do you think of the distaff, John?
Well, the way the track was playing, we knew you needed to be on the lead.
Yeah.
The lead. So you knew some jockeys were going to be aggressive. And they see a horse like Seismic Beauty, who is all or nothing for her, basically. You had to go out there and be aggressive. Start did not help her at all. But you knew in the mind of Junior and a couple of all those jockeys, I need to go out there and push for the lead or be right up there. And Mott, hey, the man's in the Hall of Fame for good reason. He knows how to get them ready. He just goes out there and gets the job done. This isn't the first time he's won the distaff on the lead. He's done it in the past. He knows it's ready. I mean, this is a Hall of Fame trainer for good reason. Junior, outstanding ride with Celia. Some people weren't sure was going to be able to get distance. He did it. And Nitrogen really fought hard. Really tried her best. I mean, she's going to be the 3-year-old filly champion, no doubt, in my eyes. But she just ran outstanding. To be second is just a shame. That unfortunately it didn't happen. And how about Joe Ramos? Yeah, the same Joe Ramos who rides at Horseshoe, Indiana, finishing third on Regaled in the distaff. Biggest his career, even though it wasn't a victory. I mean, for Rick Bettman, great job. Joe Ramos, probably the biggest, next to the Ohio Derby, the biggest moment of his riding career so far. And the way Ramos has been riding, he might be one of these jockeys in a couple of years. Guys like him and Ben Hurd move to biggest like New York and really make a name for themselves.
Okay, I'm not that familiar with Ramos, but I'll definitely keep an eye on him now. What's his main track that he rides at?
Horseshoe, Indiana.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a pretty big circuit for, yeah. Okay. Ramos.
Skylar ran grade ones, but never had. This was Skylar's first victory, and
I thought he was better on the
first victory since August 24th, 24 at Saratoga. But he did run Breeders' Cup second by a head in last year in the Breeders' Cup. He was second by a head at 7 furlongs.
Mm-hmm.
And he really ran really big. He ran the Spinster, came in third by 2 lengths. But so, ran to Saratoga, the Ballerina, grade one, came in second by 1 length, So
he's a board hitter. I said it right on the show. I say, I think this one's going to be around. I think he's going to hit the board. I prefer him underneath, and I had him for third. And
yeah, that's great pick. Great.
And he wins outright. I didn't expect Seismic's Beauty to get stuck. I thought Nitrogen was going to win that race. That was my call. I thought that was the one.
She ran a great race. She was in position, but Celia was just too good that day. It was her day to shine, and she did.
And Darth Vader just burned out.
He came in 5th place. What happened to Darth Vader now? You said
he seemed like he burned out. He just couldn't keep up with him. He just kind of spent it too early, making up from that outside post. I don't know.
And I want to go to a race here, another one. So John had the big try early, and the exacta there. He had the 14. What was the name of that 14? Diamond. What was
Ethical Diamond.
Ethical Diamond.
That's on Saturday, Alan. So you're going to Saturday.
Yeah, and Bobby, you threw a 20 on that, and you also had a big exacta. No, daily double going into Fierceness the next day, so they could see how that would irk me if I got.
I did have to give John a call to thank him.
Yeah, called him from Aqueduct.
He pulled me out, right? He pulled me out just when I thought I was out. John, he pulled me back in.
But Bobby wasn't done yet. Not only did he cash in on that big $57 winner there, he saved his best for last. The final day of Breeders' Cup weekend, the final race on Saturday. And that horse, Bobby gave it out cold on the show. And the horse's name, let me just tell you the name. And then you lead us on this one, Bobby, how you came up with this horse. And I ended up using him in exact, and I connected on it too. And I didn't use this horse at all. Gazora. Now, this was a 1 3/8 mile. I guess it's the marathon for the fillies and mares. So you go nails Gazora, nice big win bet. Horse pace 2020. He's watching this race and he was very comfortable. How'd you come across this one, Gazora?
Well, I pointed out that Francis Griffard, that he had won the big race, the Quipco race at Ascot with Clonanigan. So he's had a great year, which is pointed out by one of the foreign commentators. He has had a great year in terms of his horses. But, I was a bit frustrated because I really liked Salon too. But I was pointing out to you that the horse seemed rank and throwing his head up and just wasn't having that relaxed feeling when he got into the gate at that mile, and I just felt like, well, I don't know about my chances. And Francois, he mentioned it also, that a lot has to do with racing luck and the horses. He had mentioned to the commentator he hoped that that Gazora would fare better because of it. He did feel confident, it seemed like, and before the race when they interviewed him, he did point that out. But Gazora was won the Prix Diane class. She's a classy horse. She was riding with less weight because she's a female, 3-year-old. She gets a weight advantage. So it just seemed like a no-brainer. I did put the bet in. So with all my frustration on Friday, I put the bet in on Friday night. I said, I'm not going back. I'm just I'm swinging for the fences here. Get a home run, and it was a reward. And you had pointed out in the ring post parade that she was really relaxed, which really gave me a lot of confidence too. She was relaxed and she came on really strong, and got her hands off to Sherry DeVar. I give her a lot of respect. She's a great trainer, and she was just second best that day.
Well, here's the thing. You said you made the bet Friday night.
Yes, I did.
So, here you are. You had no idea of the odds you're going to get.
No, I just said I'm betting no horse.
Because Gazora was 7-2 in morning line.
Yeah, I was shocked when Bobby told me that the next day.
This is true.
Imagine if you waited to make the bet on Saturday.
Right. Yeah, I know. 7-2, which is I guess that's a tip also, right, John? That you see the horse that must have ability to the line, the people who draw the line, right?
Well, like I say, a race like that, it's last race. A lot of people don't know about people know Aidan O'Brien. They don't know Garfad.
Yeah.
And that's something that we have to pay attention to. We saw Willie Mullins, we saw Garfad. We have a lot of great trainers not named O'Brien.
Yes. Absolutely.
Got 3 O'Briens out there to choose from, but there's more trainers to choose from if you just pay attention.
Listen, O'Brien came in second at Flemington yesterday with a $23 45 to place and 23 to show. I mean, that's amazing. And O'Brien even hit the board with that filly yesterday. So they're totally respected, but they're hard to go against. But I mean, the class is class, and the horse shows that she had beat some of O'Brien's horses in Europe. So. That was another thing that was in the Prix Diane. She beat what horse did she beat in the Prix Diane? Pretty good Brian horse in the Prix Diane. She beat let me see, Gazora beat Bedtime Story.
Wow,
in the Prix Diane.
So that out too on Saturday. Yeah.
So
I know.
Don's right. Can't play them all, but you got that's why I think your show, Alan, is good because you got some great commentary from John and whatever I can add to it, that I think that we really do have a good edge because we're a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, we're not just throwing winners out there. And you mentioned John brought up the odds to 7-2, and you, Bobby, you put the bet in on Friday night. Some bettors, if they're waiting, say they like the 5 the night before, but they were only going to bet on the next day. Maybe they see 10-1 or something when it was a little higher earlier. Maybe they might get scared by the board. And then I know Barry Meadow from his book Money Secrets at the Racetrack. He says that's when he starts to get excited, when he sees that the public isn't on his horse. He wants to see his horse higher than he thinks it should be. And what's your feeling about that betting angle, John? Is there a time you should get terrified by the board, or more Barry Meadows by the book? Hey, I'm getting great odds, I'm going to stick with it. Is there a time that
it definitely varies depending? I mean, look at Seismic Beauty. I didn't like her at all.
Yeah, you didn't like. I saw that. And
to see her getting bet, it just made me say, okay, we're going to get a price here. It's just which price are we going to see? But just because you get bet, that doesn't mean the horse is going to win. So, in the last race, I mean, 2, you go 1 and you win. Remember, when you're making these selections and you're doing it because of the money, that means you're depending on others. to know what they're talking about and know what they're doing. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. I mean, I've seen people who I would not want to bet any of their horses. The whole world, my horse can't lose, or this horse can't lose. Now I'm just salivating. And it's like, I can't wait to go against them because there's no way in the world they're going to lose. They're the mush, and you're going to go out there and take advantage of that.
Mm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, just like anything else. But you have to, in the end, rely on your knowledge, head feels, how your heart feels, and how much cojones you have.
Yes. I think that what you're saying is true. I think that, like my cousin says, if you really want to make money, you have to work. But the challenge here is in racing, to me, it's like a chess game. You're making the right moves. You're not going to become a millionaire doing this. And it's just, if you are, then listen, it's to me, it's just having to be able to say that I got that right. I like that. So that's why I'm drawn to it.
Yeah, and it's a challenge because you're dealing with living beings. You can roll what a horse does. A jockey can only do so much.
Mm.
But still, they're only 118, 119 pounds trying to carry and control 1,000-pound horse. 35, 40, 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Some guys have the touch, some guys have the strength. Some people just say, go out there, Bentonato, wire the field, catch me if you can. And they can't. And these are things that you have to figure out. That's the challenge. Because you see horses like Seismic Beauty, even though the bad break hurt her, I didn't have the confidence she would have had the lead anyway.
That's the thing with me. That's why I didn't like her. I thought she had some speed inside of her.
Yeah, but then you see other horses, like a horse like Bentonato, who just goes out there and just wired the field, or a horse like Super Corridora, who just went out there and wired the field. And it's like, okay, these guys know what they're looking at. They know what they're doing. And they went and took advantage of it. And that's what you need to do. Guys who know what they're doing. I mean, it's just unbelievable the talent that they take. And these guys, I mean, you say a lot of stuff about them. And I'm not happy. I mean, when I was at the post, I tried not to criticize the jock unless they really deserved it. Because it's not easy. I want to see you get on a horse, go that, and you try to control it. It's not that simple, folks. And the stuff that we do towards these jockeys, I mean, I'm sorry. No, that's not going to happen. But whether it's a jockey or a trainer like D'Angelo, who had 2 speedballs, went back to back on Saturday, I mean, it's a total team effort at the end.
Yeah. Let's talk about the 10th race with, I guess Godolphin won that race with Charlie Appleby. It was, what were our picks there, Alan? I know I liked the 2 and the 4, but
10th race on Friday. I mean Saturday.
Yeah. I had a 3-2-4 and try. Those are my horses.
You had 3-2-4. I had 7-2-3, and John had 9-3-2. Let me bring up that race so I can see exactly. So I can get clear with the numbers on that race.
That's the goal of the speech.
4
race.
came in third, and I had the 2 in second, and the 3 Salon in first. Yeah.
Notable speech, formidable man. Yeah, formidable. You had the Lion of Winter did come in third that race. Yeah. You had the 2 and you had the 4, and so you did have we all had the 2. We all had the winner. None of us had the winner. Notable speech first. Yeah, what do you think of that race, John? I think Rhetorical gave it a run.
Yeah,
there.
What's your take on Rhetorical, John? I mean, a New York bred, no less, really mixing it up there with the other horses, man. Those expensive horses,
Yeah, what do you think of that race, John?
Yeah, John.
Son of Elliot Walden, and from his father. and all the work that he's done training horses, and also at the same time helping people with, unfortunately, some history which isn't that great, with stable recovery, not the opportunity to start a new career with in the backstretch, working with horses. I mean, Walden has been outstanding, and God bless him for doing work like that, to giving people those opportunities. And really, if you think about it, that's horse. You have to give people opportunity. You have
Mm.
trainers opportunity. I mean, look at the Melbourne Cup. Jamie Carr, 29 years old. She's won 1,300 races. She wins the biggest race of her career in the Melbourne Cup, 2 weeks after winning the Caulfield Cup. Here's a guy like Jorge D'Angelo. 2 years ago, no one knew who he was. Now here he is. He's won 2 races back to back on Breeders' status. A guy like William Buick, when he first started, I remember him. They say he was going to be the next big thing. When I first saw him in America, it's like, are you kidding me? He's going to be good. Well, he is that good,
Yeah.
because that's what happened. You have to give them the opportunity, let them make mistakes. It's like I did it with Forever Young. Spoli was doing it, but still getting successful. But unfortunately, he panicked and took him off at the end. But these guys know what they're doing. And you just have to give them the credit. I mean, Buick gave him a great ride to slip through and get the victory.
Yeah, that rail ride was tremendous.
Yeah. And it was Appleby. And we all know what Appleby can do.
If he was going to win one race, I felt that was the race he was going to excel at. If you got to say, they never blank out. With Appleby and Buick, that was a good one to mix up. But Formidable Man, well, that was a surprise. I mean, I remember talking to Alan about him. I pointed him out, said, I don't know, some of these horses, they surprise you.
Mike McCarthy, Jerry,
Yes.
more than just a one-trick pony. I mean, he's done a great job with Formidable Man. Johnny V, who was the hottest jockey coming into the Breeders' Cup, gave him a great ride to get him to finish second, and hold on to second over the line in Winter, who some people thought was going to wire the field, but he didn't do that. But he was close enough to still run standing race.
Yeah, I liked him. I liked the line in Winter.
And even Oracle, hey, New York bred. He's probably the New York bred horse of the year after that performance. I mean, this is a horse who's going to be heard of. He's coming back next year. I think they say he might run the Pegasus turf they got that day. And this is a horse who I'd be very surprised he ever ran against New York breds again.
Yeah. I pointed out that Alan, that even on, I think it was Friday, stark contrast. These were the home court advantage horses that had run at Del Mar, and they seemed to, they're getting the money. Remember stark contrast? I think it was Friday that he came in second too.
Let me bring him up.
I don't know what race, but
contrast. He came in second. Yeah, big price.
Same thing as Formidable Man in a sense. Formidable Man, if you look at his past performances, Del Mar Mile, great. Won it for 1.5 lengths, and the mile, he won at a mile and an eighth. The Eddie Reed Stakes, in July, Del Mar, Santa Anita, always there in the money. The Kilroy Grade 1, these are local horses. You know what I mean? They got the home court advantage. I think there's something. You think there's something that can be said about that, John, in terms of Del Mar and the home court advantage?
Oh, it definitely helps, but you also have to have the class. I mean, you look at Gold Phoenix. Won the race at Del Mar 4 years in a row. And that's something, I don't care who you are, to win the same stake 4 years in a row.
Holy shoot.
And of course, he finished off the board again in the Breeders' Cup. I mean, he's got the class, but doesn't have that next class to take the next step to put him into the winner's circle. Because unfortunately, and I will always say this, and yes, I'm a European snob, the European turf runners are better than us long term.
I agree.
And before, I want to talk a little bit about next year. We were talking about home turf. Next year the Breeders' Cup is going to be at Keeneland. But before we do that, there's one race that really jumped out at me that I want to touch on. We'll start with John. He usually goes first here with our panel. What about that mile, Nisos? What can we expect from this horse going forward? Every race I've seen him, he looks great. He looks like he has another gear. Citizen Bull really impressed me.
Oh, I think I got that right, Alan. I think I got that right. I think that I'm right.
Yes, Bobby, you had Nisos on top. And I just want to make it clear also, right. John had Ice Cold on top. He's the only one of us that had Forever Young, and that's, oh yeah, Forever Young. That horse paid $9. John had him cold. $9 winner is a damn good call, especially who he was facing. And Bobby had Nisos. He was the only one that had Nisos on top in the 11th. What do you think about that one? Is he going to continue racing, John?
Bobby has said it is his dream to win the Saudi Cup with Nisos.
He's a good horse.
Okay, that's going to be the plan. He's going to be running him out there. Of course, he did have some issues, which made him miss the Pacific Classic and took him out of training for the Classic. But Bob was able to get him to right the ship. And we had the Baffert battle to the wire with Citizen Bull, who ran a hell of a race.
Yeah. We saw him like the Citizen Bull of old there.
Yeah,
he's only 3, right?
Put out there and the race. And then have something left at the end to battle Nisos. Give that horse a lot of credit.
Yeah, he came back.
But
Nisos would have been going to the Classic if he didn't have the health issues. So, what do you see from him now going forward?
He's going to run him in Saudi. Whether he has a race prior to that, Bob will know, because he has to see how he is physically, health-wise, and all that. I do think there's a shot he could run one race in January, Santa Anita. Maybe opening weekend at Santa Anita, there's a possibility he could run in one race. But if this horse is healthy, maybe of the North American-based horses, he might be the best. And Bob's always felt that way. And for Bob to be talked the way he did, look, Bob says a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Some of it you have to take with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
Great interview.
In my dream to win a race like the Saudi Cup, he's not going to say that because he's just trying to impress them. He believes it.
Showed a lot of class, that's for sure,
And he's still young. He still has a lot to do, a lot to improve. This horse, I don't think he's gone past about 16th in his career yet.
I love the breeding. I love Nyquist. That was my Kentucky Derby horse. Nyquist has really been throwing some pretty good horses, John. What do you feel? Could you expound on that? He has been throwing good horses.
Yeah. Look, when I saw Nyquist run, he was a good-looking horse. I was impressed with what he did there and knew that he has shot to be a very good sire, and he is.
Yeah.
Also, let's give a little credit to the job, because that was the beginning of an outstanding 24 hours for Flavien Prat. Because here he is, wins on Nisos, goes to Aqueduct on Sunday and wins 7 races.
Where?
It's unbelievable.
Where? I'm sorry, John?
Flavien Prat won 7 races on Sunday to set the all-time record for most wins by a jockey.
Wow.
New York.
Wow.
And he almost had 8. He missed by a nose when he was second. He had one throw at one point.
Where? At Aqueduct?
Aqueduct on Sunday.
Wow. I didn't watch it. I was done with the races by then,
So, I wonder where he stands in the jockey trade. Let me bring that up while you're talking here. See what he stands after those races. But 7 races, that's more than, say, Ramon Dominguez ever wanted a day at Aqueduct, or
it was the record. The record was 6, but with a few different jockeys. So now that's the record with 7. And they say he could have been 8.
That's impressive, man.
But it also with Nisos, because he worked his butt off to get that victory.
Yes.
All right. I'm just looking at the jockey standings right now. Owner standings, trainer jockey stats. Oh, okay. Well, that's still impressive. I don't see it offhand, but jumping to next year, what do you think about Keeneland holding it next year? And of course, 2027 be at Belmont. And John, you definitely got to go to the Belmont Breeders' Cup when they come in out east here. But what do you think of Keeneland next year?
That'd be nice for us to target that, to maybe target something like that. I mean, I'll look into it a little bit,
Yeah.
It's going to be cooler weather, number one.
Yeah, we know that. That's why that's definitely happened. Could be a hurricane. Who knows?
Never know, but
you never know in New York.
Cooler weather. Also, because of the way the races are going to be set up, the Classic will probably go back to being the last race of the card. Because the reason they couldn't do that was because of football and because it was so early. I mean, start to make the Breeders' Cup the last race, you would have to start the races so early at that point and start the coverage so early. That wasn't going to happen because you weren't going to be getting NBC coverage with the Classic. So that's why they did a race now where they had enough space in between the football games to be able to do that. But at Keeneland, it will be the last race. And it's a unique surface, unique configuration, but I'm excited. I mean, the Europeans love that type of course.
Sure.
Weather, because they're coming from weather like that, because it's nice and cool.
You know what? But John, the thing is that I'm sorry to interrupt. I apologize for interrupting you. What do you think of that? The turf, though, the turf, how it will play. I mean, that could be a factor too in terms of the turf taking. John, I don't know. Did they do anything? My question is, did they do anything in terms of the turf? Did they take that sod out, or is it the same sod? I would assume that it's the same sod. What do you think?
It would be the same sod. I mean,
okay.
Probably put temporary rails up early.
Right.
Meet, so the meet will be going on at that point in October.
So they didn't rip that up. They left it. They put the tapeter in, and they just built. They probably could resurface the dirt, right?
Yeah, that was the dirt surface. Then they took out to put on the regular dirt again. But what they're going to do is they'll probably save it as much as they can. Only run it for the big stake races and maybe some high-end preps and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's Breeders' Cup Day, they still have a good, firm turf course.
Mm.
And one thing you also have to remember when it comes to like the Europeans coming over, they say one of the reasons they send horses, a lot of those horses who may not be the top horses in Europe, because they are the ones who want the firm turf. I mean, a horse like Minnie Park, she went there because I guess lost the York. But did she really want firm turf? Who knows? Others like Mullen, who knew that he pointed this horse at the beginning. O'Brien, who said these horses want the firm turf and you point them over. They're going to go and you have to do the research and trust and handicap the trainer to see what they're thinking, why they're setting horses out here.
That's the one thing about O'Brien, and he's tricky because some of his lesser horses, they become champions they'll become a champion. You'll say, what the hell? I remember that year. I mean, it's not a firm turf in the Arc that he had all three places, first, second, and third. Yep. And I said, well, I'll never let that happen again. And I didn't because I boxed all three horses in that 5 furlong race. I said, I don't care for $2. It's just not going to happen to me again, But, it's very true. Sometimes those horses, and I've been perplexed. I said, well, the horse didn't really do good in Europe, but boy, he's another horse over here in America,
Yeah, because in Europe, they run on good turf.
Right.
Unyielding turf.
Right.
We are scared of it. And you drop a rein, they'll take it off.
Yep.
But meanwhile, those Europeans they ship over, maybe that's what they want. They want that firm turf.
Yeah.
In Europe. And that's why they improve so much.
Yeah.
So that should be an interesting Breeders' Cup then next year. Yeah. So I guess for now, the next big day of racing coming up, probably the real racing starts in later January. We still have some good races. The Hollywood Cup later this month, and in December, we're going to have the Remsen Stakes. I think they have 7 races, stakes races at Aqueduct, and the Remsen is a prep race. There's points, and that's it. You know who won the Remsen last year? One of our future horses, Bobby Poster, was the Remsen winner last year.
I remember we like Post. I think I put a future bet on Post.
Yeah, I did too. And yeah, he looked like a good horse. And then when he ran that race at Turfway Park, that was the kiss of death. I don't know why they sent him there, but yeah, he won the Remsen, so that got him. That got him early. Let me see if I can bring John back. He's popped in and out. Okay, yeah, he won the Remsen. That's why he was set up. He had some points in the qualifying for the Derby. So let's see if John can come back. Just hang a second here. Okay, John is back. You there, John?
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I was just talking. What do you see? All right. So, in closing, next big race is coming up. Right away, you think of Pegasus Cup Day, Gulfstream. They start that championship meet, and all the big jockeys, especially in New York, they leave the Skeleton Crow. Maybe I shouldn't call them that. But the top names go to Florida. But now we got December coming up.
John Blank.
Okay, so Aqueduct has a big day, Remsen Day, and Breeders' Cup, standings for the Kentucky Derby. When do you think is the next really big day? Is there anything coming up soon that they can think of that we can look forward to as we get past Thanksgiving? And
well, Clark at Churchill Downs right after Thanksgiving, which is closing weekend at Churchill, and they got some big races down there that way.
Okay.
Have a turf festival, which they always have, where some horses, especially 3-year-olds, could be running there. Then you got opening day Santa Anita the day after Christmas. That's always huge.
Okay.
We have to watch out for that. And then, of course, we got a Pegasus Day in Gulfstream in January.
Gulfstream has some really pretty good turf races. The racing kind of goes, all the good jocks go down there, right, John? No?
For the most part. I mean, yeah, Jose Ortiz went to the fairgrounds this year.
And he went there last year, too, yeah.
And now Paco Lopez is going to be Louisiana because he could ride there.
So they're not going to go to Florida, huh? Wow.
But he can't because he's suspended.
Oh.
Because of HISA, but there's no HISA in Louisiana because they're suing.
Oh.
So that's why he rode at Delta Downs last week, and he's going to ride in Louisiana because his only choices would be Texas, Louisiana, or West Virginia. And DeRisi Paco riding nightly at Charlestown, nah.
No, he's too good for that. Well, it's talent-wise. But all right, so we do have some good stuff, some excellent racing to look forward to later in the month, especially at Churchill and Black Friday. I know that long weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, has a lot of good races. And so, yeah, it's a lot of racing to look forward to. And then, of course, before we know it, we'll be following the, road to the Kentucky Derby again. Guys, John, Robert, I want to thank you so much for joining us. And we've been on these big races all year leading up to the Breeders' Cup, beginning with the Pegasus and all those races, right through the big 3-year-old races, the point qualifying, who's going to get in, the Derby, the Belmont Stakes, and Travers Day. We've been on finger on the pulse all the way through, right through the Breeders' Cup. There's still more coming up. But, guys, I want to thank you for this fantastic, fun journey this year right through the Breeders' Cup. And thanks for joining us, giving out big winners and really covering these races, not just giving out picks, but the reasons why, It's been tremendous, a blast.
Well, I just wanted to hope that everyone keeps cashing them, and we're going to try our best. Just remember, don't be afraid to take a shot every once in a while because chaos can happen.
Any parting words, Bobby?
In the immortal words of, I think it's Louis Malle, au revoir les enfants. Vive la France! Vive la France! And thank you, Lafayette, for helping our country. Its country's quest and quest for independence, which I'll just point out to a few people that I don't know if we're still recording, that Ken Burns's war on the independence documentary in 1776, of course, is going to be airing on PBS shortly. It's supposed to be very good, so I'm looking forward to seeing that fight for freedom.
Thanks for the heads up on that, Robert.
Yeah.
And my closing words, hey, gentlemen, everybody watching, thanks for being here, being a part of this.
Thank you too, Alan. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, and thank you. And remember, may the horse be with you. Thanks for watching, everybody.